Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Hot Topics, the podcast, the show where we create, transform, and
Inspire.
there you go. I trick you.
You did. You almost got me that time.
This is Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD, a natural way and a holistic way to always make you feel better. And next to me, like always, my beautiful co host, Kia Baker.
Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Kia. And if you don't know me by now, which I'm sure most of you do, I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast. Hi, George, honey.
Hey,
And
Georgie.
I am also the creator of a little show called Women Warrior Stories. And I am a success coach at London Real Academy. And for my own private coaching, the Rose Method. Yeah.
So when you gonna start the next season for the Rose Method?
So I'm actually wrapping up. I was just looking at the calendar so my program is 7 weeks long and then there's a month-to-month option. So all of my students right now are eligible. They're coming up on their last 2 to 3 weeks of the program. And then they'll be eligible to go month to month, or we'll be done and I'll be moving on to really focus on DeFi, the DeFi Accelerator, which is an amazing new program that's all about the crypto world that we're going to be doing at London Real. And of course, I'm going to be working with that. I have a finance background, so I'm going to be working with them on that. And crypto is really exciting. And it's not just it's about the whole umbrella of everything to do with crypto. So Brian is actually going to be coaching on this one, Gloria, which is crazy. He is going to be the head instructor. He's going to do the workshop calls and the keynote, and he's going to be having his own team. So
when is this group is gonna start?
It starts Monday. I'm so excited.
I'm kind of tempted to start.
You should do it. You should do it. Okay, so I am not going to be head coaching on this one. Like, I'm not going to be one of the major coaches. I'm going to be a support coach on this one. But the next one I will probably be, and they're only 4 weeks. And then after, and you know what's yes, it's only 4 weeks. And then it's cheaper, I think, too, than the other courses. But here's the thing. There's a premium package. And if you do premium, you get to be on Brian's team. So that's a perk. And after it, there's something new. Okay, for the Academy, for those of you who love London Real and you love what we do there, there's something new being offered. There's a membership. So after you get done learning all there is to know about this whole decentralized currency world, then there's a membership, a month-to-month membership, just like I do for my coaching. And you can go on, and it's going to be really, really inexpensive to be a part of that. But you have to go through the accelerator to go through the month-to-month. So I'm really excited for everyone. There's over 100 people in this inaugural course, and it's really like hot. People are loving it and excited about it. Hi, Angeline. Hi, sweetheart.
I'm just dying for her to go to Jamaica to show the pictures in the bikini.
Yes, girl. Live your best life.
Yes.
Live your best life in Jamaica. I'm serious. She
Exactly.
might get her groove back like Stella did. Stella got her groove back in Jamaica, didn't she? From that movie. Do you remember that movie? Anyway, so I'm really excited about all of that stuff. I'm really excited about everything that's going on with London Real and all of that. And I'm excited to be back here with you hosting Hot Topics Live.
Yeah, I'm so happy too.
Yeah.
Oh, she's leaving on Monday.
Monday is the day. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess we'll wait to start the verbal abuse series for when you get back, Angeline.
I think
and
so,
then
'cause
we'll
she's gonna be there like a party and stuff.
Yeah, there's no time for doing book talks when you're in Jamaica.
Special verbal abuse.
I mean, if I was in Jamaica, I would need to be tipsy by 11 a.m.
Exactly.
Okay, because I'm on vacation. Don't judge me.
Like a minimum.
Like a mimosa. A mimosa is like breakfast
Right.
food.
And then you
right?
continue.
And then you just continue. It's warm. Dancing. That's right. Dancing.
This is gonna be
It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait to see the pictures, Angeline.
I can't wait too.
It'll be a good time. We wish you safe travels and a wonderful, wonderful time, honey. For
Right.
sure.
Yes. So
So we have a guest today.
I know that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm excited. Okay, so on the 12th,
Mm-hmm.
it was Women Veterans Day. And if you've been following along on Hot Topics, which you can go to our Hot Topics Live Facebook page and go back and watch all of our episodes. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, you can go back and see quite a few there. Not all of them, but quite a few. And stay tuned because we are going to be making some modifications to our YouTube channel and making it more pretty. More nice.
And Hot Topics start the Day of the Veterans, remember?
That's right. So
That
actually
was the
on
first
Veterans
episode.
Day, that was our first ever episode that we did live on Instagram. And
Yes.
then we decided from there that we had so much fun that we should keep hanging out on lives.
Right.
And Hot Topics Live was born.
Exactly.
So last year, we had my dear friend Amanda Huffman come on. She is the creator and host of the Women of the Military podcast. And she came on and shared her story. And we got a lot of love from that because a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be a woman in the military because it's it's like a male world. It's very masculine.
Yeah.
And as women, we have a very unique experience in that environment. So sharing our stories is what I do on the Female Veterans podcast. I interview only female veterans. Sometimes I throw in a boy if he's really special and has a great story. And well, today is a day about that. We weren't live on Women Veterans Day on the 12th, but this is close enough. We are going to invite on today a dear friend of mine. She was one of my very first guests on the Female Veterans podcast. She believed in me when my show was just a baby. And so for that, I will always love her. And she always comes through to support me and invites me to speaking events and all kinds of cool stuff, tells me about lots of veteran cool activities that are going on that she wants me to be a part of and that would be really cool for me. So for that, I always love her. Not to mention, Gloria, I have to tell you, one of the most greatest honors, I guess, I have gotten so far in this journey of supporting my female veteran sisters is I was invited to join the board of directors for her not-for-profit. Awesome. And let me tell you, it's called Hope for Veterans. And it's if you live anywhere in the world, you can support this. But what it does is it helps women who live in Florida, which both of us used to live in Florida. Right. Okay. So Florida.
I still live, but right now.
Yeah, part-time. Part-time you have residence in Florida, but you're right now in Costa Rica. Exactly. And I have a ton of family in Miami and I love Miami. Shout out to anyone from or who is in Miami. I love Florida and it's amazing there. And these women, there are a lot of struggling female veterans there as well. So what she does is she helps these women in so many different ways. I'm not going to get into it now because I want her to tell you, but everything that she does is so amazing. And it speaks to this heart that she has of giving back and helping the women who have served in the United States. And there are women veterans all around the world. So they need support everywhere for the most part, but especially here. And so wherever you are watching this, I hope that hearing this story about a woman who served in the military touches you in some way. And if you have female veterans where you are right now, that you'll reach out and support them and maybe listen to their stories because it's not what you might think. It's a lot. Right. It's a lot deeper than that. And we don't really talk about it. Typically, there's a culture of silence that surrounds our serving. So you might be surprised at what you hear. So if you have a sister, an aunt, anyone who served in the military, a daughter, ask her what her experience was. And it might really surprise you and really impact you. So
awesome. So let's bring her in.
Let's bring her in.
Let's bring her in. Hello, Lynn.
Hi. Well, you're just bringing me up to high spirit here today.
Of course.
And I do, like I say, it was the first time we ever actually, encourage Kia to be on the podcast. I'm like, why don't you do what you believe in? So that's a lot what we do. It's not just, like you say, hope for veterans. But when you mentioned something about, yes, we do Florida. The reason why we do Florida is because it's the second highest state for women veterans. And we do not have a lot here.
Mhm.
Maybe a lot of resources, but not a lot of action resources. So that's the reason why we kind of God sent me there for a reason. I'm originally from Wisconsin, Green Bay Packers here. um, but yes, as I guess the story is told, how I got into it. I guess is that what we're going into? Is the story,
So,
Kia?
so, so
Well,
before,
before you go
yeah.
ahead, Gloria.
So before we start in going into the deepest of our conversation, I want you to tell everybody which part of Florida that you are in and what time is now.
Oh, it is 9 o'clock tonight. Oh, I'm sorry, 9:18 to be exact. I live in the St. Augustine, Jacksonville area, but we are working to serve the whole state of Florida. It is a big job, but like you say, women are spread so far apart, and they isolate, and a lot of them don't trust the system or just don't trust. So we are there to stop or prevent that from happening by our sisters.
That is awesome.
Amazing. So, like you said, Lynn, we do want to get into your story, but I want to start with why you joined the military.
Well, many people have this very similar stories, like I didn't know where I was going to go, or after high school, what do you do? That's kind of where I was. I think I never thought about college at all. I got into it. I joined because the army came in for first. I would have been Air Force if they came in first. So I wanted to do more. I wanted to do something bigger than what I lived. Um, and so I did. I went through it. I went 10, it was a total of 10 years. I went National Guard first, though.
Mhm.
Most people are like, huh? It's confusing with the government. But I got in because I wanted to do much bigger, much bigger. I wanted to show my children growing up that I can do more. And there's just so much more to it.
So, what is the biggest difference between the Army National Guard and the Army itself?
The Army National Guard is a one weekend month. So it is, you have your own life. You go to college or you go work on a regular day basis, 1 week in a month and then 2 weeks in the summer. So you have a normal life. But when you get into active duty, your life is the Army. I mean, that's all it is. You sleep, you live, you dream, you drive trucks in the Army. They tell you what to do, you do it. Your life is the Army. Well, at least for mine. So
Mhm.
I was full time for about 4 years in active duty when I went after national my 6 years National Guard.
What was Army basic training like boot camp like?
Well, you know a lot of the women, and we see it today. A lot of the women you get like for the males, you hear the males always tell us, you can't do it, and I think that's what kind of gets us to want to do it. Is like I can do this. In my journey, though, I got in and I was one of those individuals that you can't do this. You're not going to amount to much, whatever the case may be. And I went through basic training. Through the process of basic training, though, I did get sick. I spent a week and a half in the hospital where I don't recall anything. But I did go through everything but the gas chamber.
Girl, I remember the gas chamber. I went
Wow.
through the gas chamber a lot of times. I went through your times for you. Like I
I
went through the gas chamber
I
so
went
often.
10 years without having to ever go through the gas chamber. I don't know
That's
how I did it.
incredible. I can't even believe that. I'm sure I went through that thing like 4 or 5 times. Was not okay. Like at different points out of my Navy career.
The one thing I remember though is the night fire. I don't know why it was the night fire. It was going under those the barbed wires and just crawling through those things and just feeling like you're really at war. That's the feeling you get, like, oh my God, that they train you to go, don't put your head up, don't put your head up, keep it down to the ground. And so those are the times, and that's probably why my neck hurts so much. And I have a lot of injuries for that. But like you say, for the basic training, we got through it. Then we went through additional training because you got to go through your training. I was transportation. So we did another, 6 to 8 weeks of training, depending on when you went through. And when I went through, it was just started, all women. And it was a very learning experience. And in that time, it was all women I was a minority. I was the only white woman in an African American. But hey, I learned how to dance, and I learned how to wave my hair.
Okay. All right, then.
Well, you learn something from everything, everybody.
Of course.
Absolutely. So, my next question for you is so you were in transportation and so your unit, if I remember correctly, and from what you just said, was all male, all African-American, and you for your transportation unit. So, yes. And you were in a supply role. This was after 9/11, right? So you were serving during wartime, correct?
I was serving, yes, actually 9/11. The active duty started in 2001. So that was the time, that was the year, the 2001, it started. I was there. I remember where I was too. I was at the Ranger Battalion, and the Ranger Battalion, you do not go into buildings because you were a female. That day, they told me to go into the building. I was like, what's going on? They told me to watch a movie. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty cool movie, I guess. Like, you see like those hero movies or those action movies. That's what I first thought it was, until we got locked down. And then they said, hey, this is really happening today. So I remember that day.
Wow, that's crazy. Go watch a movie.
I mean, at the time, it's serious to this day. It's 15 years ago. But it's still serious to this day that, so many lives got destroyed, and so many lives, even if when you weren't in the buildings, firefighters and even us, even we were in Fort Benning, and our lives got changed, not just because of because of everything. It just, everything got changed.
I definitely remember where I was, because I was thinking, am I going to have to go back in? Because I was still on reserve. I just didn't know whether I was going to have to go back in or not at that time. But I definitely remember turning on the news and seeing people jumping out of the windows. Like, I will never, like, I was just like, what is happening? And seeing that. And actually this past weekend, I was in Los Angeles on a trip with the mastermind group. And one of the ladies that this group was of women who have overcome crazy things and have thrived and carry on to inspire other women. So women's empowerment. And one of the ladies there, shout out to Andrea. She is an amazing chef, and we were there supporting her as she filmed a cooking show, right? So we got to be a part of that. But her story was so interesting because one of the things that she experienced was actually 9/11. And she was down there and she shared her story with us, which was really powerful. It was gripping to hear like what it was like being right there, like getting off the subway and realizing something's not right and seeing it and like being told to run and everything of being like right in that area on that day, and how it took her all day to get home and not being able to reach her and like having to try to find a way over the bridge. And just the whole story was so riveting that
did she have guilt issues too? Guilt that it wasn't her, or you know what I mean? Like sometimes
no, I don't think that I think her thought was, I need to get home. Like, how am I going to get home? Because they didn't know what was going on. That's what struck me. Like, they were there in it, but they had no idea what was going on because they had no access to the news. and everything was shut down and all the power was out. And so they were trapped in a building at one point. Like, it was just really crazy hearing this story, but it's, you know, it's incredible how you can overcome these traumas and turn around to help other people, which is a lot like what you do. So I seem to be blessed enough to attract these amazing women into my life, like Gloria as well, that overcome trauma and then turn around and help other people because of it. So let's talk about your role in the military and what, you know, how your career unfolded. What was it like day to day for you? Because you were the only woman in an all male unit.
Yes, I can recall a few like incidents, like we were transportation. So at that moment of time, we had the old trucks, and the old trucks were stick shift, and they bring the new guys in, and none of them knew how to drive. I mean, nobody was trained to drive stick shift, and it was kind of interesting because people would say, "Well, she's a female." I was like, get your butt in that damn truck because you're going to have to learn somehow. So it was just one of those things. It's just one of those things that you just had to do it. It does regardless of, but there were times there in the end, there were times that, you got disrespected, and there's the males that you had to put up with, you had to be part of the guys. And because, or you would have never survived, talk the way they talked, the disrespect, the way they disrespected, called names, just the guys, how the guys hang. And even in the field, it was the same thing. Everybody hang, and just all that stuff. And it got to the point where I was in the field for 3 years straight, and I had the gear on. Always, we had the trucks, and the trucks were. I mean, these back of these trucks were 150 pounds to lift those things. So it was only us, or, as a female or whoever had the trucks, just lifting and having those officers or the schools or whatever, to jump in the trucks. And it's like every 15 minutes, every half hour. That's why I don't sleep very well anymore. Because we would always be on the go. You get 15 minutes sleep. Wake up, let's go. 3 years of that, especially a big thing was a Ranger Battalion. We did A-knock, B-knock, the schools like that we did a lot of, in the general idea, on the training and stuff like that. And so, like you say, that time was told. I was there for about 3 years. Things started hitting. I had my unit. I never really seen them a lot, but you had the platoon sergeants and things like that, and I trusted him. I trusted him with my life. He had my back. What the thing is, but one day, like, easy way of saying it, one day MST occurred. He came to my house, and he was a total like Jekyll and Hyde. And to that day, it got transferred. I didn't realize that I was recycling. How that markers, the circles started. Alcohol, missing appointments. Just everything started trickling from there. I started getting sick. To this day, I still have issues. But I started getting sick. I went to sick call all the time, and not realizing that this MST issue was related to this other, because I was going through an administrative board. Because at that time, you did something wrong, you're on the red flag. And I was a female, so I stood out. So this, long story short, because I don't want to go into too much detail, he got reported a year and a half later, got thrown into somewhere else. He got high ranked, I was never listened to. I was in front of an administrative board. It's very difficult to fight the military. I finally got out, but it wasn't a pretty sight. But I knew when I got out, even though I knew my rights, I fought to the end. Even though in the end, I served National Guard 6 years honorable. I was there for 3 years honorable, re-enlisted. And then I had that last year there. That's when trouble started. I was on a medical board. Commander did not like it. He gave me the only way to stop a medical board is the 3 Article 15s. He made everything possible to get me an Article 15s. And we can go into so much more detail of it, but in the end, that was the worst time ever in my whole life, and still to this day. I was so suicidal. Nobody cared. They said they would have put me in prison, and they threatened me. I couldn't talk to an attorney. They took my phone away. I was a single mom, too, at the same time. So there was a lot going on. But in the end, at the administrative, it was 8 months back and forth to a counselor twice a day just to survive, I had the Senate involved, but they couldn't do anything more about it. And like you say, it was a great time overall, like learning experience and being part of the Ranger, all these school opportunities. They knew me better than my unit knew me. And so in the end, when the administrative board came across the table, because I wanted to fight, to the end, um, there was 5 individuals that, to the point that had to go against me. And every single person that went against me, even the battalion commander of the post, knew didn't even know who I was. They just thought, you're a bad soldier. Well, how do you know that if you've never met me? So it was a lot of areas of that piece of it. I did get out, and it took me 15 years to talk about this. I did get out with a dishonorable discharge. I upgraded, and I fought, and to that day is when I began to fight. And I got out. I was struggling. I was homeless. I was a single mom. I was still going to college. I think that's the only thing that really saved me, because they gave me the opportunity in 2001 to go to college, and I continued it. I got my master's degree in counseling in the end. But it still fought with me. Every day I kept fighting, and I kept fighting, and I kept fighting. It took me 2 years to upgrade that discharge. In those years, in 2004, you could not, at that time, you cannot just go to the VA and say, I'm going to process my claim and fight that, because at that time it wasn't there. You had to upgrade your discharge, then go back into your claim process. I did win eventually, and it wasn't about, at that time when I first got out, I was angry. I was frustrated. I just wanted to go back and just show these people that I'm a good soldier, because through the whole process for 10 years prior to that 1 year, that I was always out in the field. I was doing my job. I was training these people. I had awards, all this other stuff until that last year. And that affected my whole Army career.
So I have a question, and I'm sure you have questions too, Gloria. So I'm just going to interject right now.
That's fine.
Okay, so let me back it up. Okay, because it's a lot to digest, and a lot of people are not familiar with military terminology. So I want to back it up, and I want to just sort of paraphrase a little bit. You were an awesome soldier, and you were doing your job. You were support. You were driving big trucks. You were dealing with heavy machinery. And is my understanding you got hurt doing that? Is that correct?
Yes, I got hurt, but also my medical, before the MST occurred, during that MST, my medical and physical took over. So I was getting sick also.
So what is MST? So people
military sexual trauma in the military.
Okay.
So essentially an assault took place. So
yes,
we're all clear on that.
Okay.
And because of that, she got sicker because obvious reasons. Okay. So and she had to deal with that. Well, because of that, and I'm sure that there were rumors going around, and I'm sure that there was all sorts of, because what happens exactly. So what I was trying to come up with a nice way to say it, but thank you for just putting it out.
Retaliation.
So essentially what happens for a lot of people who haven't listened to the Female Veterans podcast, because this is a common story, an all too common story that I hear on my show, is what happens is when a female has something like this happen, whether she reports it or not, okay, because it's not always reported. Okay. So, and what is it? 1 in 4 women in the military, that's the latest statistic, are survivors of military sexual trauma or an assault.
It's higher
and it's higher than that. Listen, and it's, people don't report, and there's reasons why. Because when you're a female in a male environment such as the military, you need to assimilate. Just like if you're immigrating to the United States or any other country from another country, okay, you're expected to assimilate into that culture. Okay, this is the same thing that happens to females in the military or males. You have to assimilate into that culture. Okay, if you don't, then you are going to have a very rough experience. in that world.
Yes.
Period. So now, if you're a female, okay, the only female in a unit, when you go into the military, you expect your brothers and sisters to have your back. That's who you go to war with. Who do you want next to you when you go to war? You want someone who you know is going to be ride or die, as we say. You want someone who you know is going to have your six. They're going to have your back. No matter what happens, they're going to protect you.
I had this cringe when you say 6.
I'm so sorry, honey.
It's okay.
So that's what you expect when you go in, just to clear that up for everybody. All right. Now, what often happens is that's not the case. So when a military sexual trauma happens and you have to turn your brother in, a lot of girls can't stomach doing that. And why? Because they know that it means it's going to make them the odd man out of the group. And that makes you a target. And when you're a target, nobody has your back. Okay. In fact, you're fighting an uphill battle because you're suddenly becoming bullied and you're becoming persecuted by superiors. And a lot can happen. Now, when someone has complete control of your life, which a lot of people don't understand, that when you go into the military, you become property of the United States government. You are property. You're property. Okay. So you have no life because your life belongs to the United States government, to the government, wherever government you're from when you go in. I'm not sure if that's everywhere, but here you belong to the government. Okay. In the United States. I say that because we have a lot of people that watch in Europe. That's where our largest fan base are. We love you. We love you, Europe and Australia and Canada. Okay. So anyway, so just to make that really clear for everybody. Okay. And so in case it helps you with your questions too, Gloria. So essentially what happens then is what happened to Lynn is that when people begin to find out, whether you report or not, when people find out or they start to speculate about what happened between these two, it's kind of like high school. A base is a really small place. So the rumor mill starts getting going. And then if the person who did the assault is well liked, and or has a really important job within the military, it can often mean that a girl's experience is marginalized. I'm saying it as nice as possible. Now, it doesn't happen to everyone.
Spit it out.
It doesn't happen to everyone. There are great experiences in the military, and there are horrible ones.
You see most of the people that, I don't want to say most, a lot of the people that reported are the lower rank, but the ones that are higher rank still have to be in that male environment, so they kind of go with the flow. Not everybody is the case. Not everybody some people have a good experience. I've had people, we have in our group, in our nonprofit now, that are 21, 20 years in that not have that experience, which is great because you don't really want to experience that trauma, but this is why I'm here today.
But it does happen to people. So this is the story today. Last year's story was different, okay, of what happened to her in the military, but this year, this is the story. So we're making it really clear so that people can understand. In case you have not listened to the Female Veterans podcast, then you don't know about a lot of these things. So I'm sort of breaking it down for you. So then what happened to Lynn is that she had to go through all of that. And that takes a toll on you mentally, emotionally, and physically, obviously. And then especially if you have to continue to see the person who attacked you or who assaulted you every day. So just imagine that, like sit with that for a moment. Okay. And then they continue on with their career and they have a successful, amazing career, but your command has decided that you're a problem. That happens too.
A lot.
And so then you have to sort of fight for your life in a way. Actually, that's literally true. You have to sort of fight for your life and your freedom.
That's why we have that issue. That's what happened with Vanessa Gillis. And I won't go into too much detail, but that's what happened in that scenario in some sense. So
Vanessa Guillen in Fort Hood, you mean? Her?
Yeah.
Oh, that poor girl. If you don't know that story, Google it.
It's been happening for decades since women started the military, and you get good times and you get bad times, but like you say, that's why I said that's why we try to empower women, regardless of the trauma, regardless of what had happened to them, because they can live a better life.
Absolutely. What do you think about all of this, Gloria? You've been pretty quiet today.
No, because I want to listen to the story, because I don't know too much about military stories about it. And listen to Lynn, everything that she went through. I would say that you've been choosing to go through all that to be able to do the job that you do today. Because if you don't have that experience and all these traumas, you will not be able to help other women that is having some similar issues. Now, you have to feel like I'm gonna say in Espanol, because I don't know to pronounce very well in English, but a similar word. You are like a heroína, means you are heroine.
A heroine.
A heroine.
Like a hero.
Like a
oh,
hero.
Okay. I was like, I don't know Spanish.
So
I got you.
You are a hero for a lot of women out there that doesn't have a voice. So everything that you went through, you have to take it like it was also a very hard shift, but it was also a blessing, because now you're doing what you love to do. Now you understand everything from bottom to top, and the humiliation, the all the things that you went through. So when a woman comes to you, a veteran comes to you, and she told you her story, you're gonna understand her very well. So
Correct. And we relate better.
You relate right away very well with her. You feel more empathy. You're gonna feel more compassion for her, and you're gonna guide her in the right way. And imagine if you didn't go through that, you probably not be doing what you're doing. But thank God that you did. That happens to you. It sounds like so weird that thank God that happens to you.
Yeah.
It happens to you. So you have to be grateful and say, you know what? Yes, I went through all that shit. I cleared my path. They told me I was a bad soldier. I'm not a bad soldier. And you clear out, and you clear out, and now you can sleep in peace because you clear out. And how many women out there that they did the same thing, and they are like harboring at night, oh, I'm a bad soldier, they discharged me with this, and having all this guilty and all this shame on it. So now you have the story to empower those women to say, you know what, let's fight back to clean your honor, to clean your integrity, and to clean all your work that you did for this country. So I loved your story for that.
Me too. And that's my favorite part.
The big thing I have found out with not just my story, but everybody's story, is that the fight back, it's got to be your fight. Because there is so many people I've run into that what is going to make, and it took me 15 years to figure this out, what is going to make me feel, I don't want to say whole, because I'm still not fully whole, but what is it going to make me to the point that I can get ready to give back to someone else? Because for 15 years, I wasn't ready to give back. I was still fighting my fight. And it took me a long time. I fought my claims. This is my fight. I fought my claims. I fought a letter to myself that I am good enough, like you said, and it's been fighting for a long time there. I fought for, it's still in an appeal process of my disability. I still feel like should have went to Germany. Maybe someday I'll still go to Germany by Kia. But, it's one of those things that, okay, yes, I was a marriage and family therapist for 4 years. And I said, no, this is not, yes, it's great, but that's not what God told me. No, that's not what I need to do. Then I became unemployed for a while. And then what do I need to do during that unemployment? I went through nonprofit status. I went through figuring out who I was. And I went through helping our women in homeless situations where I taught as a master's degree. And I loved it. And I continued to do it. And so in Wisconsin, I was part of the Mission Continues. And the one thing that stayed with me is one day, people say, one day I want to wake up and I want to be a nonprofit. Nonprofits are not that easy to run. I'm going to tell you. There's a lot of paperwork and you need a good board like Kia and everybody else on my board. But
hey girls,
it's one of those things that it's a long process and it takes a very long time. But again, today today we had a call, and I have to say this, today we had a call, and it was a very big eye opener. It wasn't just because a woman veteran called us. It was because, and I'm not going to go too much into detail because I don't want to discriminate anybody. It was a woman who was watching my Facebook continuously and just never responded. And I knew her. And she responded today with a question. I have a women veteran that I work with that became homeless with her and her husband. And she has a job. And I won't go into too much detail, but she works for the VA. And she reached out to me for resources. And so it wasn't just because I don't want to say the VA is great. I'm not going to say, downgrade them in any way, and there's a lot of resources that need to happen. And there is a lot out there, but it's red tape through a lot of stuff to get it. Oh, well, we can get you this, but it's going to take you 3 weeks to get it. Well, I'm homeless now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people. We do have some organizations that will, okay, we won't question you. You have to fill the application out and we will, pay the renter or whatever the case may be. We have 2 organizations out here we work with. So anyway, long story short, that was a big eye opener, and that keeps me moving, I guess. Because every time I want to stop and say, I can't do this, my pain hurts, my neck hurts, whatever the case may be, I'm just so tired. Another woman comes up to us and said, I need your help.
I feel that. I feel that every time I'm too tired to put out another episode of the Female Veterans Podcast, or life is like getting crazy. And I feel like, how am I going to get another interview done? And how am I going to do? And I just remember that sharing these stories help the women who tell them, and they help the women who are not ready to tell them. So It keeps me going. I really feel that.
So Lynn, you said that you got your master's degrees. So now you're mastering your life right now through all this. So you have to
Yes,
keep going.
I
It's not
told
easy.
No, I was actually going through my master's while I was pregnant with my last child, and it was my memory just went down. But I learned like you say, I got through it. I thank God for these instructors because I had to take it twice because I was pregnant. I got through it, and I worked at the place I won't say where. I worked there, and I worked with social workers. I worked with adolescents. I worked with veterans, whatever the case may be. I worked, in a small organization. But then my husband kept telling me, he's like, you work there to get the experience for yourself and the experience of what you need to do for future use. So he kept telling me that. Even though I became unemployed after that because of all the mental health issues. And then I became, actually after that, I got a job as a DVOP working in a workforce development because I was a veteran disabled. And I was good at my job. People were coming to listen to me. I had I had 4 or 5 other male veterans, again, male population. People would come to me. People would continue my messages, whatever, continue meeting with me. But then the other group, the other 5 male, nobody would show up to them. And we had a couple jealousy ones. The males were jealous, and then they start talking stuff. And so there was a big issue there. So.
It's like the environment can sometimes carry over into the veteran world, which I'm learning actually a lot more these days about. It can sometimes be an unhealthy veteran amongst a healthy community amongst veterans as well. And it's not only males, don't get me wrong. Like, it can be toxic female energy as well. Actually.
We have a lot of females that are not getting the mental health they deserve. And through that process, there are some, I want to say the easy way of saying it is they're very narcissistic. And, and it's not to be mean in any way, but there's just, until they get that realization, they get the help they need. And sometimes it's really more intensive. They have to really admit that they need it too. And most of them, those individuals, they want to help, but they want to help for the wrong reasons.
Well, and then I'm sorry. And then there's also the fact that a lot of women that go through the military, and if they have a traumatic situation occur while they're serving, they don't always seek for help afterwards. They don't have trust of the government after that. So they don't want to go through veteran services like that are available, like mental health services through the government, right? So, or sometimes they're in denial about what they're going through and they're not ready to start their healing process yet.
Correct.
So it can take time. Like you said, it took you 15 years of going through.
Trust.
You went through, and then you were living your life. You had your degrees, and then sometimes it hits you 10 years later after you've served that something's wrong. One of my first guests in the first season that you were on of the Female Veterans Podcast, we're about to start season 6 actually. But in the first season, I had another guest. She said that Susanna, I'll never forget her story. There was a murder or attempted murder aboard her ship. So I'll never forget that. It's the first season of the Female Veterans Podcast. And Susanna told me that she didn't even realize that she had PTSD until like almost 15, 20 years later,
Of course.
to even start the process of healing and finding things. She actually left really good advice for healing on that episode, actually. But like, that's what I mean. So you sometimes whether you report or you don't, or whether your trauma was MST, because it's not often. It's a lot of other things, like Amanda Huffman from last year, that episode that's on our Hot Topics Live Facebook page. If you go back through and you listen to that one, her experience was something else. Her experience was bullying and rumor mill that was very traumatic for her. Yeah. And so it can be something different for everyone. And it doesn't only happen to women, by the way. It happens to tons and tons of men too. And MST as well. The statistic is 1 in 100. And if you don't think that sounds like a lot, think about how many men are in the military. And then you'll realize 1 in 100 is an awful lot. Okay. And that's that report, by the way, because men are less likely to report because of the shame and stigma associated with it. Isn't that right, Lynn?
Oh yeah, we have actually a good friend of mine who was MST, a survivor, and he's now working on being survivor of cancer. But he was an MST. He was a speaker. He became a speaker, and then he mentors all these other males. So we know him pretty proud. And so we're proud of him because he's pretty amazing person to speak out and use their voice, and that is very powerful, using the voice.
Absolutely.
Totally.
So let's talk about Hope for Veterans, because you went through this whole beautiful process of healing and fighting for your dignity, which of course you won, because that's what we do. You know, it's really funny. They teach us how to fight and then we have to fight them. But anyway. I
know. Believe me.
Right?
Some things are still today.
Right? Girl, I feel you. We could get into it, but we're not going to, because we could just talk the whole rest of the night about that. But I want to talk about Hope for Veterans and what led you to founding this organization.
Well, it started, I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, when I became unemployed. I had an opportunity to work with Mission Continues. It was the first leadership women's group. Got to go to New Orleans for the weekend, help build a project. It was very amazing, very powerful. And so in that process, you do a 6-month project at home. And during that 6-month project, I wanted to do something for my community. That's what it was all about. And so in the community, I wanted to work with women. You had to be specific. You had to who do you want to work with? So we started a group and we had an MOU or whatever. And 6 months of project, we would do a social events, fundraise, grants, all that stuff. And because I was running under another nonprofit. So the ultimate goal at the end of the 6 months really was to do a nonprofit. Well, it actually went another 6 months. The nonprofit that I worked with raised grants, got another grant for me to stay on because they love me for that piece of it. Thank God for the Volunteer Center of Green Bay. It's changed a lot now since then, but and he believed in me. Jim Rady, he believed in me and continued to fight. And even when I left, he says, we started the nonprofit, we got it set, we got it moving. All the paperwork was started in 2018, January 2018, we launched. And And during that process, there was a lot of learning. I mean, it's always a learning curve. What's out there in the state of Wisconsin, what is needed. We raised funds to help our women veterans. It was a lot of, you could see the demand and what was needed out there. Well, see, and then I said, well, my mental health kind of really took a toll. And I said, well, and my husband's like, he got an online job, and I'm like, let's move. My body feels better in the heat. So we moved to Jacksonville, Florida. In some sense, I'm a little out of the area, but so I was like, okay, I took some time off. When I got here, I had to start over with all my treatments. And it's still to this day, I'm still fighting. But I had to really step back because I had to take care of myself because I was really, I mean, I couldn't get out of bed, things like that. But I was still continuing. We still processed every year with the nonprofit, and I wanted to research to what was needed here. What I found out because state of Wisconsin is about what it was at 36 to 55,000. State of Florida is way over 144,000 people. It's 31% of women veterans, and it's the second highest state, and we don't have housing for single moms or children.
Wow.
There are a few houses out there for single women, stuff like that, but a lot of what I found out, there's a lot of people. You stick three women in a house that they struggle, they all struggle. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, we started this. We got this moving. I brought in the board. We had some struggles like we always do in the beginning. But in the beginning, now we get to the point where we've got people coming out and helping us, like Buzz TV with marketing. I've got a coach kind of keeping me going. I didn't tell you about that, Kia. We're getting our name out. There's more grants coming in to help our women veterans. We collaborated with Operation Barnabas in Orange Park, Mercy Auto, just a whole bunch of stuff. And they've helped us tremendously with our women veterans. And so we're expanding. But our biggest thing for Hope for Veterans right now, because we want to prevent suicide and homelessness, what we see is women come out when they need it or they're homeless already. So what our ultimate goal is, how women are so empowering for another sister. So what we're doing is we're training our sisters to become peer-to-peer sisters. And we're training them to the point that they are going to be safe. They don't work harder than the other person, because that's a big thing out there. You don't work harder than the person that wants the help. There's all these little things. The first couple phases is looking at themselves, their strengths, their challenges, their triggers, making sure that we're not putting them in a bad situation also. But then the second phase is actually, and we have VSOs coming to the table, and we have licensed therapists coming to the table, even though I've got a background, a licensed therapist coming to the table. And what we're doing as the second phase is we are helping navigate and process the claim process. You know how difficult that thing is? We have VSOs out there. They're certified. We're going to get the VSOs to file the claim. But people come to us for all these questions. So we want these women to understand the questions. What do I do with this? What is the highest percentage I can get for this, this, and this? So we want to help process, make it easier on the VSOs. And so that's what we're doing. Also, it's signing up for e-benefits or how to get into the VA, how to better the VA. So it's not just go to the CP exams. We have gone to women have CP exams or comp and pen exams. When you file a claim, I'm remembering that some people are military here. When you file a claim, it's a little bit of a wait, and it's a struggle. It's stressful because sometimes you have to tell the story, sometimes you have to hurry up and wait, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But through this process, they usually, most of the time, probably about 75 to 80% of the time, you have to still go through a comp and pension exam. And if they have PTSD or any mental health condition, that is the most struggle that we see out there, because they're triggering them. They're re-traumatizing their episodes. And so what we try to do is we're trying to support them, what to expect when you go in. We don't know all the answers, but a lot of times I've been through 3 or 4 of them in the last couple months. And one of them actually is my VP. And she was so happy that I was part of that. And she would have not been able to drive back because we walked it through, we talked about it, how things are going. And she's like, I am shaking. I don't understand. I said, you know what? That's very normal. It is very normal because you're re-traumatizing yourself.
So if I can interject really quickly, I know a lot of people don't understand about what we're talking about, a claim. So when you get injured during active service, you have to prove it to the government in order to get sort of like a pension, right? Because if you served and you got injured, they have this sort of thing where you can receive like a stipend monthly to compensate you for your injuries in service to your country. Yeah. But they make it incredibly difficult to get it, by the way. So what a lot of these women that are homeless have been injured or have military sexual trauma actually qualifies as something.
So I have a question. So they have a limited time, they have time, how long they can claim, if they was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they can still today to claim?
Vietnam veterans can still claim.
Yes. Yeah. The thing is it takes a really long time to find out whether you win or lose. And a lot of times they deny it. And so it's a fight. So it's like a real fight that you have to continue doing.
You have to show that it's service connected while you were active duty. And some people have gone National Guard, Reserve, things like that, and they've got injured there or they got injured active duty. And some of it, the paperwork is gone. Yeah. And so it's just, you have to, even if you were active duty and let's just say, for female wise, you had UTIs, and then all of a sudden you had I can't say that word, endometriosis, or whatever the female issues. Well,
endometriosis.
They can get a nexus letter and connect that. Yeah. But it depends. It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
If you get shot, or if you get the normal stuff,
anything.
If you get wounded in service, it's so this is what she's talking about, of how to help women to do this, and that's something that we do at the organization, Hope for Veterans.
So I have another question. For example, I know a male that he served the country and a long time, I think maybe 20 years something, and now he's having issues in his knees. And when I asked him why you have issues in your knees, and he said because I was skydiving, and he landed many times.
A paratrooper.
Yep.
Right. So he said that now he's having issues. I said, why you don't make a claim of it? I said, He said, I don't think they just gonna recognize this, and he's suffering a lot from his knees.
Parachuted airborne is almost, I don't want to say it's a waiver, but because of the damage that can be done, I can't specifically tell you exactly, but I do know that airborne and anything jumping out of a plane continuously while you were active duty is kind of, they have to look at it in that perspective too, because that's also damage that if you can show that you were airborne or you can show that you were in that thing, it's kind of like the duty. They can also use that as a claim process. Okay. So it really depends on the status.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We would have to know more about him, but we probably could help him. Right. I was doing this for 20 years before I started my podcast, and I would come across people like your friend who would be like, this is going on with me. And I'd be like, have you filed a claim? Do you know what to do? No. Actually, I met a guy I did this for so many years, helping other people. Just what I did. I didn't have the foresight like you did, Lynn, to join an organization. I just did it in my house or on the computer, helping random people.
We have 58 minutes to go.
Oh, okay. So that means it's almost time to wrap it up, Lynn.
Yes, no problem.
And so all right, let's move on to this topic. How can we help Hope for Veterans?
Well, the easy way of doing it is if you live in Florida and you're a woman veteran and you have the skills to bring to the table, go on our website, sign up, because we need trainers and peer-to-peer support. That's the biggest. We do have community projects out there that if you don't have to be a veteran to give back. We're inviting, because we just had a big fundraiser, a fun golf event that we brought a whole bunch of people out. So we do that. We love the volunteers. We love, community support. But I think the other one is we're falling a little short, not just because of COVID, we are falling short of supporting our women financially. And I think that's a lot across the table. But financially, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, we serve just alone for the two. We do long term with our women. Like we have a few of our women who have babies, and we follow them to that point until they're self sufficient. And you know how long that is when they have newborns. So we help with the baby equipment. We help with supporting them through the whole process until they're self sufficient again, and they have a decent job and stuff like that, childcare and all that stuff. So we kind of support that, and so it's expensive. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, we spend just basic without the children. We spend at least, I'm going to say that, and this is cheap, $1,000 to $1,500 just for a little piddly stuff for our women, just to get them supported. So it's very expensive because we've done anywhere from claim process to legal issues to vehicles repairs and getting a vehicle. We work with an organization, housing, immediate housing, security. It adds up. It adds up, and it's always a big support to have being able to support us in that way.
Amazing. So I would like to say that it has been so beautiful watching the organization grow and everything, all of the events. And I know that you are always planning events. So what do you have coming up that anyone in South Florida, or if you're in Florida, or if you want to donate to it, what do you have coming up?
Be honest with you, there's only one event going on, and because of all the stuff going on around here, we've got one event going on. It's just a small event for our women to give back. We're giving back. We're creating just a small meal and a network event for them. That was the beginning. We have a couple other things coming up, unfortunately, because of COVID and because the Armed Force Day. There's a lot of things going on. Plus I'm also the director of membership for the Jax Veterans Chamber of Commerce now. So it's a lot of businesses coming to the table too. So next year we do have a big event, and it is in Tampa. It's May Armed Force Day, and it is a little ways away, but it's a fundraiser for Hope for Veterans, where it is going to be on the golf course. It's going to be a big one.
Looking forward to that.
You're coming down for that.
You know it. You know it.
But in the future, we are looking. It was Women Veterans Week this week also. So we also have another organization, Women Veteran Organization, Northeast Veteran. I always say that wrong. Northeast Florida Veteran Women, or Women Veteran. Also another women organization out here. So we do have one in Jacksonville, one in St. John's County, but they are amazing also. And it takes a lot of collaboration. It's just, like you said, the biggest thing is we need housing for our, if there's someone out there, and I'm being unrealistic here, if there's someone out there that wants to build a couple duplexes for our women, hey, I'm all for it.
You never know what's realistic. You never know who's watching this.
You never know.
You just don't ever know.
Miracles happen all the time.
That's right.
I know. I've got miracles in my head.
Well, Gloria, I think it's time for you to discuss what we do at Hot Topics Live. We believe that you do not have to be a millionaire or billionaire to be a philanthropist. You can be a philanthropist if you go to hopeforveterans.org and donate $1. You can be a philanthropist, $5, $10, $20. But we would like to participate, right, Gloria?
Yes, Hot Topics wants to participate to empower other people to do it. So Hot Topics, the podcast, is donating tonight $1,000 to Hope for Veterans today.
Wow. That's amazing. That is so amazing. I was like, wow. I just, that'll help a lot of our women. And it will help a lot of our women. I appreciate it so much. So much. And
That's
hopefully
what we do here.
Our obligation, and we're hearing it from the state or Washington right now. We're hearing a lot of that. We're hoping to expand. It's not just Hope for Veterans, but like you say, the idea of what we're doing to prevent homelessness and suicide. As soon as we get this off running, I've already got people asking me, how are you doing this from other states? So I'm hoping it takes off. I mean, because it's not about me. It's about our veterans and women to get their benefits they deserve. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
You're
Absolutely.
welcome.
And with that, I want to thank you so much for coming to the show, Lynn. And I know you have so much on your plate and you made time for this for us. And I really appreciate it. And I just am so honored to be a part of Hope for Veterans and doing the good work that we do to help females and to end homelessness and suicide.
I appreciate that. Believe me, I appreciate that a lot.
And Lynn, I would recommend you a book, so I want you to read up for your back, and I will tell you on the chat in private. I will send you the name of the book. It's 3 hours. If you listen to it, it's 3 hours, and probably it's gonna help you to release all your pain that you have.
Good, because I just got black nerve black. That's why.
Oh, goodness, girl.
On one side of my neck, not the other. So I'm kind of unbalanced right now. Thank you. I appreciate every suggestion.
Yes. All right, so thank you so much to be in Hot Topics tonight, Lynn, and I hope you come back again. This is your house, and you know whatever we can do for you, we will do it with all our hearts. And let's keep moving, and let's keep empowering other people to donate to your cause, because it's very beautiful. Thank you.
I appreciate it so much, so much. So thank
All
you.
right, so I'm gonna put you in the green room, and if you can wait for us, we wrap it up. Or if you have to go, you know that we can catch you up later.
Green room is fine.
Bye-bye. All right.
Bye, honey.
Bye-bye.
See you soon then.
See you.
The green.
Well, that was a very cool story. Like very
It's
powerful.
it's a big story. Lynn's
Yes.
amazing, and it's a
Yes.
common. Her story is fairly common amongst female veterans, and with our celebration of Women Veterans Day and Women Veterans Week, it's really important to me to help people understand what women veterans experience, and especially as the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast, it's what I do. So you also got a tiny little taste of what I do on my show as well.
That's awesome. When you're up ready.
Well, let's do it. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you have made it this far, then you are in our tribe. So just go ahead and select subscribe if you're on YouTube, or follow if you're on Facebook right now. Go do it. Just do it now. And then set that notification bell, right? So that you know when we come live, because sometimes we just pop up on you and sometimes we just do all sorts of stuff. You will probably also want to follow us on Instagram. It's at Hot Topics, the podcast on Instagram. Yeah. We have a little Instagram page for our show too. So you can catch more information.
Not little. We have an Instagram page.
Well, yes, we have a Instagram page for our show as well. And if you don't have time to watch Hot Topics live, well, you could always listen to the podcast version. It is anywhere that you listen to podcasts, really. So you can catch, not every episode is on there though. So you do want to see the live ones. If you watch on Facebook and now YouTube, you can catch them all. If you have been with us from the beginning, you know you can go to our Hot Topics Live Facebook page and see well over 100 episodes of Hot Topics Live. We're new to YouTube, so if you're watching there, please set your notifications and subscribe. And if you prefer YouTube, you don't have to watch us on Facebook. Watch us there, even better.
Exactly.
And so with that, check out Gloria's stories. She's having all sorts of adventures in Costa Rica, and we don't know how long she's going to be there. She could just up and go back to Florida tomorrow. I don't even know. But while she's there, you want to catch these crazy, really amazing stories. Really awesome stories. She's having all these adventures in her stories on Instagram. Gloria Gold 1111. It's right there. You can see it. And you can follow me. And I post about all sorts of crazy stuff on my Instagram. You can see my modeling pictures, my travel photos. Sometimes I put success tips. Sometimes I do soul truth readings. on there. If you don't know what that is, then you have to follow my Instagram to find out what a soul truth reading is.
Yes. Yes.
So there's all sorts of interesting things happening on my Instagram at Creativity. You can follow me on Twitter at Creativity too, and TikTok. I'm on TikTok now at
I
Creativity.
want to see
And
more about that.
Mama, it says podcasts right there. Podcasts. But you can listen to my podcast, the Female Veterans Podcast, as well. Oh my God. So thanks for sticking with us until this point of the show. And we really appreciate you guys. And also, there's a lot of people, PSA, there's a lot of people still sending me friend requests on Facebook. I keep telling you, don't send me a friend request on Facebook. Go follow me on Instagram, and then you can request to send me a DM. I check those once a week, my DM requests. And if you're nice, I will chat with you on there if you're trying to connect with me. So go to Instagram at Creativity and follow me there. First follow, then request to send me a message if you're trying to connect with me. And if you're legit, I will respond. Okay, send us your topic requests to our DMs for Hot Topics Live on Facebook, and or you can comment on one of our videos on YouTube if you like a topic you'd like us to talk about. We're pretty much open. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. If you like what you heard today and you want to know more about female veterans or some of the crazy ass stories that I hear, okay, on my show, then check out the Female Veterans Podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Never! We don't behave. You know that by now.
We don't like to behave. That's boring.
That's for suckers.
Yeah. It's so boring to behave good.
Sometimes you just gotta act up.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know that. You'll soon find out when we come to Texas. Let them lift this mask crap. We're on a plane. So you better get ready.
Yeah, prepare the two rooms in the limousine.
Yeah, we need a limo. We need a driver from the airport. And we like steak. Although you're eating a lot of plants now, aren't you, Gloria?
Yes, I am. I'm a little goat now.
We're going to have a whole episode talking about Costa Rica stories very soon. She's been having a lot of adventures. You just don't even know the half of it, but I'm excited.
Right, exactly.
I'm excited for you. So anyways, I was trying to drag it to 1:11 and we went 1 minute past. And you have to wear a mask. Not when you eat. So when you're at the table and everything, you can take your mask off, Angeline. That's what that was like in LA. Mm-hmm. And plant food is good for you. Yes. You are right.
Yes,
you are absolutely good. Right.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to wrap it up. I'm Kia Baker, the host of the Female Veterans Podcast. At Woman Warrior Stories, I'm the creator of that show. If anyone will ever see it, I'm not sure. I think it might be moving networks. I'm not sure. We'll see. And I am a success coach at London Real Academy. If you're interested in learning about decentralized currency, you better run to londonreal.tv and sign up for that course that starts on Monday. It won't be the last one. I think they're running every 4 weeks. We'll see. Or every 5 weeks.
Right.
But you better join that if you're interested in it. And next to me, every single time. Well, because there's no show without her.
Exactly.
The most amazing, fun-loving, sensational, and slightly naughty, fun-loving, spectacular queen. Next to me,
Gloria Goldberg. Who else? The number one.
The number one.
Well, yes, Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD in a natural way and a holistic way to always make you feel better. And also the founder and the host of the the bilingual show, the Gloria, where I talk about also depression, anxiety, PTSD in two languages, Spanish y Español. And tomorrow it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be back to back, one in Espanol and one English. Because next Friday I'm gonna be out traveling. So it's gonna be in the morning, it's gonna be Beatriz Rojas from Colombia. We're gonna talk about synergy. And I'm gonna have a 9 a.m. Costa Rica time, means 11 a.m. Eastern time, Julian Posing from Germany, and we're gonna talk about his adventure in where he was I was
Nepal?
confused. In
Was it
Nepal, there you
Nepal?
go.
He was in
They
Nepal,
said it was
right?
in Nepal because the other day I
Yes.
said Thailand. It's not. It's
Then you
Nepal.
said Bali.
Oh, Bali, right? I said, what the heck I'm thinking. All right, guys. See you next Wednesday, and we're gonna come with more stuff, right?
I've got an amazing show lined up for Wednesday. We're confirmed for our 2 shows next week. We are back, baby.
Awesome.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay, guys. Bye bye. Like, share, and spread love. That's what we need. Ciao, ciao.